Hi guys, welcome back to the news. After intense grilling by the EFCC on the ex-ministers, Dr. Betta and also Sadiya Farouk, the EFCC now have decided to seize their passports to stop them from fleeing the country. We can recall that hours back, Sadiya Farouk was grilled by the EFCC for several hours. She was called upon to visit the Commission's headquarters to answer questions concerning the ongoing investigation into the 37 billion fraud linked to her. And yes, she went for questions and she made it known that she has finally honored the invitation from the anti-corruption body. We could recall that it was made known that she was avoiding the invitation by the EFCC. She shunned the invitation by the EFCC. And on the other hand, Tinubu's ex-minister, Dr. Betta was also called in by the EFCC. And we know on her case, a lot of people have been calling that there should be thorough investigation into this, scam, into this fraud, because it's obvious that she alone did not commit this fraud. She had people that assisted her. So a lot of people have been calling for adequate interrogation, investigation, even the carrying out of forensic audits into her ministry, that's the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. So guys, finally the EFCC have decided to seize the passports of both of them, to stop them from fleeing the country. Now, in a fresh event, the Economic Financial Crimes Commission has seized the passport of the suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta and her predecessor, Sadiya Farouk, to prevent the duo from fleeing the country as investigations continued into the alleged fraud perpetrated by them. It was reported on Tuesday that the CEOs of Zenith Bank, Providus Bank, and Ziz Bank were also grilled by the EFCC over their involvement in the alleged 37 billion fraudulent transactions linked to Edu and the former minister Umar Farouk. Sources in the anti-draft agency had confirmed this to news reporters on Tuesday, adding that the three banks' executives were summoned after the commission discovered that most of these transactions on the alleged fraud perpetrated by these ministers were carried out through their banks. Meanwhile, the ex-minister Umar Farouk's passport was also seized as part of her bail conditions before she was subsequently released late Monday night. A top source at the FCC said the passport of Edu and the former minister were seized to deter them from fleeing the country while the investigation subsides. The commission has seized the passports of the two ministers, Sadiya and also Betta. Also, they've seized Mrs. Halima's Sheyu's passport pending the conclusion of the investigation. Now, the commission, EFCC, does not want to risk having any of them to leave the country while they still have questions to answer. A lawyer to the former minister, Dipo Okupesi-san, could not be reached for comment on his client's ordeal as he did not respond to his phone. But then, apart from Dr. Halima Sheyu, the national coordinator and the CEO of the National Social Investment Program, an agency under the Humanitarian Ministry, had been similarly suspended indefinitely over alleged financial misappropriations. Sheyu had been arrested and questioned by the EFCC in connection with the movement of 44 billion from the NSIP account to some suspicious private and corporate accounts within the last 4 days in December 2023. The huge sum was reportedly moved without presidential presidential approval. And as part of her bail conditions, Shehu had been reporting to the EFCC's office every day to assist investigators. Before her appointment, Shehu worked as the national coordinator of the Conditional Cash Transfer Program under the former President Muhammad Buhari. And here we have it, my country people. What are your thoughts on this? The EFCC are out for these ministers, and it seems that they are really making sure they do every means possible to get to the root of this matter and also fighting corruption. But then Nigerians have reacted. Now, what a shameful country. After stealing the nation's wealth, they want to run under the same sky? These women are dangerous, but then they are all criminals, especially for that Sadiya woman. Buhari shielded looters for 8 years. Tinubu no be Buhari o. I don't know say these women dey like this. Now wow. So all these things now fraud, and they do not want to pay the palliative they said they will pay to Nigerians. At this point, it seems that they are all criminals, but then these people, they have mind. But what can we say? They want to flee Nigeria. If they want to flee Nigeria, collection of their passports cannot stop them. Okay, guys, these are reactions from Nigerians. And at this point, my aim is that upon the grilling, the questionings, the interrogations, the investigations, and all of that, I really hope that these monies that was embezzled would be recovered by the EFCC. Yes, and this recovered money should be channeled into something tangible. And the next person that would take over this office of the Ministry of the Humanitarian Affairs should be mindful, because all eyes are watching. Yes, they should be mindful, because it seems that this is no longer business as usual. Now we see fraud of 37 billion, $500 million here and there by different ministers, and this money, after grilling, we do not hear stories of these monies being recovered. I really hope that these monies are recovered and not just the EFCC calling them for question and answer. They should recover this money and send it back to the government. And the government in turn should, show Nigerians where they channeled the recovered money into. That is when Nigerians would be very proud and happy to say, yes, Tinubu's administration is indeed fighting corruption. Because at this point, if the FCC should go around questioning them, grilling them, seizing their passports, and at the end of the day, they don't recover this stolen money, that would be a waste of time. But at this point, they need to do their jobs very well. Well, it is really commendable, the fact that they are calling them for questioning and series of interrogations are going on. Well, kudos to the EFCC and the federal government on this act of fighting corruption. I'm dropping here, guys. Kindly share your thoughts on this in the comment section.